Good morning. Good
Greetings,
morning.
greetings. How y'all doing out there? Welcome to the Gullah House Show. This is your man's, your big brother, your nephew, your son, your everything, Master Chief Fodea Jamu. And I'm here with my big cousin, Baba Kemoh. We're here to bring you another episode of the Gullah House Show. Today we have absolutely stunning and prominent guest for us. We love her so much. She's actually helped us along our way getting here, trying to get more information to our cause. We featured on her show twice. And it's no other than Tammy McCottry. No other than Tammy McCottry of the infamous, famous, powerful, diva-filled, just so insightful Tammy Show. Y'all make sure y'all check that out right here on YouTube. I'm always in the audience. Baba Kemoh is always in the audience. We follow Mama Tammy. So with that said, today, Baba Kemoh, and I know you got an update for the people.
Well, first thing I want to say is congratulations to all the graduates this year from the different schools and colleges here in Orangeburg. We got, believe in a couple of weeks, we have the third annual celebration for Juneteenth. And we got one excited announcement to make. Chief, you won't tell them? I want to let you tell them.
All right, I can tell them. Well, for those out there who know that myself and Baba Kemoh we're biological cousins. It's my big cousin. But we're also equally engaged in genetic genealogy, meaning that Baba Kemoh is taking all of the DNA tests. We have other relatives who are taking DNA tests, and we've been doing the research and putting the data together and things like that. But one of the biggest emphasis that Baba Kemoh has been for within his journey is the African connections. For those who don't know, who haven't seen him tell his story, he grew up around some elders that actually had information passed down about memory of Africa, people who were brought to America from Africa that were direct ancestors that was able to pass it down. So of course his journey has been to, prove that and discover that through the genetic testing. Through that, Baba Kemoh has found relatives in the Congo, Nigeria, Guinea-Bissau, even here in Sierra Leone and Liberia. Now, the connection here in Sierra Leone has increased, and that's the big news. For those who know, back in December, I was able to meet one of our cousins, Fatia Mojoy, also found through Baba Kemoh's testing. They always say test the elders. The elders go farther back. They always say that, right? So just recently, within the last 2 weeks, we've been able to get a connection with a brother here in Sierra Leone who's never left the country. He's a Creole Mende brother. And he turned up as a very close relative, about a third cousin to Baba Kemoh. And he's a Mende. And we've already been connected. Baba Kemoh was able to reach out immediately to the person who's managing his account, and they were able to get phone numbers. And Baba Kemoh has been having daily conversations with yet another Mende of Sierra Leone discovered cousin through Ancestry DNA. Test your elders; they will connect you. Baba Kemoh, how do you feel about that before we go into the show?
Man, I feel great about it. It's been another exciting moment of the journey. Like you said, we found Fatih out first. We found this new cousin here. I've been talking to him daily. He sent me some pictures of him and his family yesterday. I sent some pictures of us yesterday, and for about the last week, we've been chatting on WhatsApp on a daily basis. And he's cool brother.
Oh yeah.
I won't say his name just yet, but because that's for privacy purposes. But
Oh yeah.
he's a nice young man. Yeah.
We've been able to find out even information in terms of where he's from and how close in proximity he is to the place where we've already been doing our community outreach in in the country. So it's powerful because we're very close by to where he is. And later on we'll be revealing that information I should be meeting them very soon here in Freetown. And we'll keep you updated on that. But with no further ado, you are here for a reason. You wasn't here for all of that. You know, we're happy for ourselves. We clap for ourselves. And we got to share that with you. But moving forward, there's nothing that I'm more proud to do today than to welcome Miss Tammy McCottry to Gullah House Show. And I'm bringing her in right now, guys.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Listen, you all, I'm the one that's honored to be on the Gullah House Show, as I've been chatting on Facebook and Instagram saying I'm Gullah Geechee. So I am honored. Gentlemen, you are so distinguished. I love what you're doing. Chief, Baba, you know, I know you, Roderick. Baba, I thank you. Man, I thank you. I'm excited. So all is well, and thank you again for having me on the Gullah House Show.
Well, let me tell the story. Let me tell the story. About 2 years ago, y'all, I met Tammy at the conference center, and she told me right away she was from Charleston, and I'm Geechee. And I was like, oh, wow. So I'm Geechee also. I'm Gullah Geechee also. And I told her how I reconnected with Fode and Fatia and found my family back in Sierra Leone. And all of a sudden she said, you must come on my show and tell us all about it. So now, Tammy, you tell us about Tammy. Who is Tammy?
That's right.
Hey, listen, you know, it has been an honor to meet you both and have you all on the show, because like I said, you all have a wealth of information that you share with people. And I'm just blessed that I was able to meet you, Baba and Chief. But when it comes to Tammy, I just say, you know, I'm just Tammy. I was born in Charleston, South Carolina, adopted at birth to Turner and Catherine McCottry, who were pillars in the community, activists, community folks. That's why I am like I am today. You know, have traveled the world, have had an opportunity to travel the country. I have not been to Sierra Leone yet, been to Nigeria, but I'm looking to go to Sierra Leone, Ghana, and we've been talking about that. Have a daughter, 28 years old. She graduated from Johnson C. Smith, as I am a HBCU grad as well, Howard, and she's an entrepreneur. She's doing her thing and financial management and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm just proud of her as well. And when it comes to, you know, when people ask me about who I am, I can tell you a whole lot of stuff. You know, I love music, as you see behind me. I love to dance. You know, I sing. I speak a few languages. But I tell people that I have been blessed by God. God has given me so many gifts and talents. I'm a Christian. God has given me so many gifts and talents, and I just love life. If you don't love life, then you're in trouble. You know, I've done an array of things. Now, gentlemen, when I say this, and folks that are listening, everybody said, well, what have you done? I said, well, you want me to go down the list? Okay, I've worked in laboratories. I've worked in doctors' offices. I've worked as a waitress. Well, they say a server. I have been a lab instructor. I've been a pharmacology researcher, microbiologist. I've acted. I've been in fashion as a fashion model. The only thing I have not done is worked at Magic City. So if you catch that, then you know what I'm talking about.
I hear you.
Oh, well, Tammy. I know you do so many things, but how do you find the time to do all these things? Because I know you're a very busy lady. You're on the radio. You got your show. You do various things in the community. How you find the time?
Well, I think I just prioritize. That's the biggest thing. You know, sometimes I do, as you said, Baba, you know, I'll be running back and forth and you see me all the time. But it comes to prioritizing. And sometimes I do have to say no. It's been hard for me. That's a weakness that I have, because when people ask me, I always want to help. You know, Chief, it's like, you want to help your community. I see the American Storyteller said, not Magic City, but anyway, but you want to, you want to help people in the community. And if I can't do it, I'm hoping that I know somebody that I can make the connection with and they can bond with and do that. So to answer your question, it's about prioritizing. Sometimes it gets tough. Sometimes I'm not the best at that, Baba, but I try my best to prioritize and do what I can do and just shuffle.
So let me ask
You
you a
know what
question.
we say, Tammy? You follow the agriculture plan, right?
Come on.
That's a saying me and her that I told her about that my Aunt Ruth taught me. And
Yeah.
I shared that with Tammy since we met.
No doubt. So Mama Tammy, with all the things that you have been able to achieve in your life and the things that you will continue to do and the inspiration that it will always have, I have a question for you about one, your Gullah Geechee roots. Charleston native. You're a native of Charleston, so having that metropolitan, sophisticated yet simple, busy, but it doesn't appear to be so kind of Charleston Southern Belle demeanor. I see it a lot, even in my generation. The women from South Carolina just have a different kind of grooming. Would you go into how you extracted elements of our culture, the Gullah Geechee culture that you was engaged in growing up, the women that you was able to look in, the kind of pride that they had, and the kind of things they would do and just wouldn't do, their priorities, and how it influenced who you are today?
Hey, man, that's a loaded question, but that's great. One of the things that I talk about is my aunt Cynthia McCottry Smith, who I was with last night in Columbia, South Carolina. She's 100 years old. My father is from Charleston. The McCottrys originally are from King Street, South Carolina. So you all know where that is.
Yes.
And my mother is from Charlotte, North Carolina. One of the things that my mother was very intentional about was learning how to be a lady, the etiquette piece. I had to go to Belk's School of Etiquette and this and that. And then, of course, growing up in Charleston with my Aunt Cindy, she has that diva, type of attitude and how she exuded that. And so growing up around a village of phenomenal women who were not only Gullah Geechee, but also that Southern Belle, that sophisticated type, I extracted that piece from them as well. When it comes to knowing about my culture, one thing about me that people always said, and my daddy was very instrumental, I'm a daddy's girl. He said, one thing about my child, she gonna be Sister Soldier. Anything that had to do with I'm Black and I'm proud. Listen, you didn't even have to think about it, because I looked at Soul Train. You know the deal. Looked at Soul Train. James Brown came to our house. James Brown came to Charleston, South Carolina at least once a week, it seemed like, at County Hall. And so, I was always that sister soldier. I always wanted to know who I was, but yet still with our culture, I had the opportunity to learn from women from James Island, my aunt, and learn about our history. And when I say our history, our Gullah Geechee history. When I was 6 years old, I learned the poem Paul Laurence Dunbar, In the Morning by Paul Laurence Dunbar. Of course, that's Gullah. My mother, being from Charlotte, North Carolina, Tar Heel, she did not want us to talk like that. So, Chief, I had to learn how to shift. Because one minute I said, listen, man, I can tell you something. Let me tell you about this young. Because see, this young the way the thing gonna be. But y'all got to understand that's the way it's gonna be now. I say that. And in the next hand, I could be in the house talking, and I'm talking with my brother, and I'm saying, man, Chucky, man, what going on? Stop all that now. You ain't supposed to be doing that. And the phone rang. This is one instance. The phone rang. I will never forget it. He says, sis, telephone is for you. I said, who is it? He says, I don't know. He said, I don't know. Now, my brother has a non-distinct. He never picked up the Gullah accent. He never did. He was non-distinct because he spent a lot of time in Charlotte, North Carolina with them Tar Heels, okay? But I never let it go. And so I said, what are you talking about? Who that's on the floor name? And I took the phone and I said, hello, this is Tammy McCottry. How may I help you? Boom. Instantly, I knew.
Switch.
It's powerful. It's very, very powerful.
Yeah.
It's code switching in our interests. And it's the same as having a being bilingual.
Exactly.
I see my mama do it. My mama would be talking to us in one dialect. Somebody knock on the door, and even her, who is it?
Yeah.
It's like she from there where we live at, but in her natural element, the dialect was just completely different.
Yeah.
And I don't think people give us credit for being able to live in both linguistic universes at the same time.
Exactly.
And it's beautiful because it makes our language something that is rooted in the home and in the family, mm-hmm. and in the community institution. That's where you'll find us talking in our natural way. And it makes sense to everybody who's there listening, everybody who's there conversing.
Yeah.
So it's very powerful.
Yeah. I mean, and so when you ask me, what did I extrapolate? What are some of the things that I took away? I took away being a lady is very important. Knowing who you are authentically, your authentic self is very important. So I learned from the old folks, as I've heard Baba and you talk about, the stories, the storytellers. I'm a storyteller. I love to tell stories, and of course, Damon knows that as well. He's the true storyteller. But I love to tell stories. And I've taken bits and pieces from everybody, even from my mother's culture, from the Tar Heels, from Charlotte, North Carolina. I've taken that piece from her as well. And of course, my Aunt Cindy, who I had a great time with last night. And y'all pray for her because she lost her best friend who was getting ready to turn 100 years old on August the 24th. She died yesterday. And so that's why I shot up there to Columbia to see her.
Okay.
Now, how's our Zelda doing?
Oh, Auntie Zelda is doing just great. Just great.
Oh, okay.
Talked to her last night, too.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I just want to make sure because that's my buddy.
Yeah.
So what's next for you, Miss Tammy?
Wow.
In terms of not the work, because I know you work. You do a lot of work, but in terms of your own process of maturity, as you evolve into a worthwhile elder, there's a lot of young people out here who see older people, but they're not worthwhile. What I mean by that is that the world is faster than what it was when we was younger for these young people. Mm-hmm. Their understanding of culture, like we do, the dialects might be different, but it was the same culture in Charlotte. Yeah. It was the same kinfolk.
Exactly.
And so, for people out there that's watching, that understands that life is a cycle. And so what direction are you going into? Because earlier you talked about spirituality, talked about, some of the things you've achieved. But now in terms of Miss Tammy, what's your vision? Where are you going?
Wow, man, you pulling out the stops. I got to get you to write the questions for my show. Great question, Chief. I'm glad that you asked me that because every day I am reinventing myself. And one of the things about me that I've learned recently as I'm getting older, hitting that, as you said, that elder status, is that I want to be whole. I want to make sure that I'm whole mentally, spiritually, and physically. So I'm working on me. I'm working on what I need to do as far as say no. 1, 2, take time for me. Whether that means I'm dancing around the house, whether that means I'm reading a good novel, which I just finished a couple of novels, whether that means I am talking with people, helping people figure out about business, figure out about life. That's what I'm doing. But I'm taking time for me because I've got to get back to me. See, I've been given all this time. I've been giving. But when you
Mhm.
ask me what's next, it's about taking time for me and making sure that I am whole spiritually, mentally,
Wow.
and physically.
Wow. Wow. Great answer. I
And
needed
and, and
I needed that. I needed your answer to that. You
Yeah.
know, my mother is not here. I have elders, but you have a very motherly spirit. And
Oh,
it's like to know that you can see a future for yourself and you're still growing and development, it gives me confidence because I'm 44. I'm going through the midlife thing. I still think I'm young. I'm starting to feel older. My body's lying to me, you know. And it's just for me. I go through it, and
yeah.
it's a conversation that I don't think young brothers have with older women in a way where we can gain as well because a lot of things are gender based. You
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
the you know the and then the brothers usually we got to go find
Yeah.
some man that's willing to give us some wisdom and some guidance. So I really appreciate you saying
Yeah.
that as
That
well.
that well, thank you for asking the question because it put me in perspective just now. I mean, nobody has ever asked me that in the way that you did about what's next. People always want to know what's next for the Tammy Show, what's next for, your career, what you're doing in your business, what's next. But nobody's ever really said, Tammy, what's next for you? And so you helped me just now. I mean, literally, as I said, I'm reinventing myself daily, trying to figure out this life. This is, I tell people, I love the Lion King. Mustafa said, this is circle of life.
Mhm. That's
We're
right.
gonna come back. We're gonna come back around because 360.
Mhm.
But again, even for men, it's important for you to take care of yourself physically, spiritually, and mentally. So what does that mean? Men don't want to go to the doctor, but you all got to go. You got to
Mhm.
go see somebody, get
That's
that
right.
check up from the neck
oh
up.
God, oh God, Tammy, you hear Lisa in the background? She fussing at me right now to go to the doctor.
You got to take that time because listen, I have a daughter who's 28 years old. She has a hot, wonderful boyfriend. I mean, wow, he's fabulous. I hope they do get married. Um, and what does that mean for me? Grandchildren. Of course, I'm not ready, y'all, now, cause see, I'm 7 years old, and so y'all caught that right. I'm not
Yeah,
ready, but if it happens, I want to be ready because I know that I'll have to help her. I'll have to help her raise her child as I was a single mom and my mother and the elders helped me raise her.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Right. Keeping the tradition.
well,
exactly.
that
Always
was
being
gonna be
strong so we can be there for others. It's powerful.
Exactly.
that was gonna be my question, Tammy, because I know you just did your shows on motherhood and everything and empowering women and what do you have to say about that empowering the young ladies and women in general? Because I know that, like I said, you just did your show on that.
Yeah. It was called, the theme was the beauty of motherhood. And the thing that I love about being a mother, the first thing, and I'm going to tell people this, when I found out that I was pregnant, my mother was not happy because I was a little older. Hello. And she said I was going to have to be on bed rest. And at the time, my father was he was declining in his health, and I was home taking care of them. Granted, mothers and daughters, yes, and that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother show. And as I said, I'm a daddy's girl, but she was upset. How can you be a single mother? Being who she is.
Hmm.
I met Dr. McCottry. Thank you. Being who she was, she was like, this is an embarrassment. You're going to be a single mother. We don't have this. I was like, now, wait a minute. Now, what year is this? And and so she said, you're gonna have to go on bed rest. Well, I told her, I said, you know what? I said, I just pray that I've decided to have this child and I want to be the best mother that I can be and what God has purposed me to be. Okay. So I want spiritually, I want to make sure that I am ready. Doggone it, didn't I have to go on bed rest and move back home?
What?
Yes. But it worked out. I almost lost her. I was only I was 3 months, 3 months. Cervix faced a whole bunch of problems, and my father, his health was declining. So what that meant to me was I was supposed to be home because I was able to take care of my father. The question that you asked me, Baba, is empowering young women. It's important for us to talk with them about our struggles. You know, so many times we want to hide what didn't happen to us. We want to hide that, well, we didn't do this. Yeah, you know, I used at school. Hey, listen, everybody was getting high.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, hey, you know, but you want to make sure that you let your children know. And when it comes to motherhood, you want to be able to share. Hey, I was struggling as a single mom. I struggled. You know, everybody sees the glitter and glam, and they see you on television because, you know, in Charleston, I was on Comcast, NBC, UPN. I was on all the networks. So they see you doing all that. So they think that you are up here. But when actuality, you are just trying to make it. You are trying to provide a living for yourself and provide a home for your child or children. And
Right.
it's important for them to understand that it's not easy. You got to take the time and take time for yourself, because if you can't take that time for yourself, how can you pour something into someone else? How can you be there for your children? So I want young women to understand, hey, listen, those guys out there, some of them mean you well, some of them don't. And the ones that don't, let them go. You know, stop bringing people with you. Stop trying to bring everybody with you. Everybody can't get on your bicycle. Everybody can't get it fit in your car. You maybe only have one or two people that's going to be in your car. All that other stuff, let them handle it. Let them, like my therapist says, that's their clothes basket. Let them take care of their clothes basket while you wash your own clothes.
That's right.
Wow.
That's right.
Wow, that's good. That's, man, I wish my niece could hear that. I wish, you know.
Tell her, listen, we
Yeah,
did together,
I'm going to
Baba.
pass that.
You know?
I'm going to pass that on to my niece Jasmine. She needs to hear that.
I love to meet Jasmine.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations to Jasmine too.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Yes. So that was great, man. I'm sitting here just soaking it up. The wisdom. They said if you want the right answer, you ask the right question. And you know, it's Sunday. You know, it's a day marked by blessings. So it's definitely been a blessed show so far. So I want to take it to another place.
Okay.
And ask you, have you traveled? Have you traveled outside of the country?
Yes, I have been to 10 different countries. I lived in Europe. I lived in Europe for 3 months. And when I say I lived in Europe, my cousin, who was a contractor for the army, was stationed in Germany, in Frankfurt, Germany. She asked, could I come? And she and her husband, and my mother said, sure, why not? So my Aunt Julie, who's now deceased, that was her daughter. We went there, and we left right after I got out of school, right after I got out of class. And clothes was packed, everything, trunk, everything. Went and stayed there for 3 months. Came back just in time to go to school. Think I missed the first day. But I was able to travel to France, London, Belgium, Spain, Switzerland, Berlin, that's 7. What else? I got all the postcards. 7, 8. It's three others that I'm missing. But to answer your question, yes. And then when I was at school in college, I went to Georgetown for a course because I was going to be a medical doctor. Okay, y'all, that's another story. But learning about how to pass the MCAT. Met my friend Cynthia Wakike, who it was from Nigeria. Her father was a physician. She was going to be a physician. I was going to be a physician. You know, everybody's going to be in the medical field. Okay, well, God had another plan. Okay, because I'm creative in all ways. And so anyway, I got the opportunity to visit her and her family in Nigeria. And I stayed there 10 days. So, yeah. And I haven't been back. That's been years ago. You know, I haven't been back. Mm-hmm.
How was it? How was your trip to the motherland?
It was really nice, but I was surprised because it was like little New York. It was metropolitan. It reminded me. And we did not really go out into the other villages, mainly because at the time there was some stuff going on with her father in the household and all of that, and they had, her father was a physician. So you already know what that was like, living in their mansion and all that. So he didn't want us to really travel too far out. And so I basically got the city scene. And that was it. And I just say it was like a little New York, but it was the camaraderie. It was, it was being around their family, and then they talking, and I learned Igbo. I had the opportunity to learn some Igbo. I've forgotten most of it. I can just say, hello, how are you? Kadu Adima. Hello, how are you? And if things come back to me, then I'll be able to speak the language. But that was a great experience. And I thank my mother always for that. I've been to Barbados. I love Barbados, the West Indies, of course.
Yeah.
Of course, I've been to Jamaica, St. Thomas, St. Croix, so Bahamas. So I've had the opportunity to go to other places as well. Thanks to my mother and father. Mm-hmm.
That's powerful because
hey, listen, when I tell you my mother was serious, my mother was like, I don't know who you're going to marry, but I want to make sure that I take you out so that you can learn. My mother wanted me to be an interpreter. That's what she wanted. I wanted to be a concert pianist and or a doctor. My mother wanted me to be an interpreter because I picked up languages so easy. I still do. Baba, I'm talking to Stephanie all the time.
I know. I hear you doing your thing sometimes.
Yeah. So
I thought she was teaching you, but it turns out you teaching her.
Yeah, man. So it truly has been a blessing, and so that's why I say, I'm just blessed. I'm adopted from birth. I'm blessed. I am blessed.
Yeah.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Absolutely. Can nobody deny that?
Hey, that's right.
That's right. You talked about Barbados and being from Charleston. We know the historical connection to that. Did you feel home down there? Like the way they talk, the way they cook, and all that?
Oh yeah.
They feel like Charleston.
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. It was amazing. Got to meet a lot of people, and it was just, it's just like you said, just like being at home. And of course, as I tell people, you hear me speak like this now, but but when we get around, our folks, I'm like, oh yeah, man, yeah, that good, man, yeah, what are you talking about? Listen, let me tell you something, yeah, and that it comes out, yeah, that 88 start coming out.
I hear you.
Mm-hmm. It's like that in Freetown too. When I got Freetown's the city, it's the biggest city in this country. Mm-hmm. So it's urban, but it's still got a rural cultural feel. Mm-hmm. Like, the people is mainly from the countryside. They're from the villages. So it's urban, but it has a rural feel. Mm-hmm. Everything still feels like it's like a big village. Mm-hmm. But when I first came here, I could hear the language just because I could hear my uncles and my mama and them. Mm-hmm. I could figure out what they were saying. I didn't need an interpreter.
Right.
And speaking of interpreter, when you said that, I thought, wow, you had a great mother. Because I think of how many mothers actually push their children in any direction. How many actually feel like it's their role? Because right now we have very, very broken family situations. What are we encouraging our children to do? And even though you became what you wanted to become, your mother was there to encourage you and say, what about this and what about that? Well, I want to see you do this and I want to see you do that. Yeah. And how important is that? Especially with so many single mothers raising children at one time and trying to understand their different needs, their personalities, and trying to be that, that mama, that motivator.
Yeah. Yeah. Chief and Baba, that's so important. I wish I had listened to my mother. I'm going to tell you that. I really wish I had listened to my mother. I probably would have been a multi-millionaire had I listened to her. And I say that because, I worked in college. She said, send me your money. And I'm saying this for these young graduates now. If there are any family members that are listening, they have young graduates. This is something that you need to work with your children. She said, send your money home. I didn't have to work, but I worked. I wanted to work because I said, when I get out, they're going to see my resume and it's going to say she had a job, you know. And so when I go after college and I go to get a job, of course, on the resume, it's going to show that I was responsible. But my point is, my mother wanted me to be an interpreter. My mother wanted me to go to FIT, Fashion Institute of Technology in New York, because she saw that in me. And no, I want to stay at Howard University. Okay. I want to be at Howard. But I say that because if I had listened to her, one, I probably would have ended up being an interpreter, traveling all over the world, as she saw, which I had the opportunity to already do. Two, I would have probably been a multimillionaire because she said, send me your money. What you make, at least send part of it home. I'll put it up. My mother was an investor. My mother invested her money well. She did very well. And had I done that when I graduated, when I finished school, I would have probably had about 10,000, 20,000 coming out of school. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because at that time, the stock market was doing this. And she realized that. So I'm telling you, parents, if you have some graduates, encourage them if they are working, even if they're working now. Now, I'm not going to say invest now because, I don't know. The market is so volatile, but at least you can put it in a CD or something that's going to grow, that's going to help them. And that's why I say, I wish I had paid attention. I wish I had listened. So when you ask me that question, one thing is we need to what's the word I'm trying to say? Expose our children to as much as we can, whether that's dance, ballet, classical music, acting, volleyball, soccer, football, whatever you see that child doing, push that child. Try to just expose them and push them, because we know assimilation. When you're in something, you're going to assimilate that. You're going to begin to feel that and speak positively to your children. Now, I'm not going to say mother was the most positive person, y'all. That's a whole nother story. But she did that. Remember, now I'm adopted from birth, so she couldn't have children. So she didn't know what it was to be a parent. She was learning herself. But a lot of times she did encourage me to do certain things. She did encourage me. I played the piano from the time I was 3 years old because that's what I wanted to do. Had the opportunity to play with the Charleston Symphony Orchestra. So these are the things that I say, push your children if you can. Expose them to everything. Let them see you reading. Let them see you dancing.
Oh, yeah.
Take them to the office. I don't care if you're the janitor. Take them with you. Let them see how hard you work for what you need to do to keep them in the lifestyle that they are accustomed to. Yeah.
Words of wisdom.
Yeah. I'm gonna stop now, y'all, because
are you preaching it? It takes a village.
Yeah, it does.
A village. You can teach your child and instill in them all of those great values, and then the neighbor's child isn't getting that, or the little girl across the street ain't getting that.
Exactly.
And maybe that's why so many young folk take a real hostile attitude towards each other, because some are getting nourished and others aren't. Some are definitely being poured into and others are being neglected. So Of course, you said earlier about community organizing. Like, that's my passion. This just seems like what God chose for me to do. Like Michael Jordan was chose to be Michael Jordan. He's chose to play basketball. Organizing just comes to me naturally. And then my upbringing, my mother was very organized as well. So I just picked up on those kind of things. But one thing I know as an organizer is that we have to actually create the platforms like this, like Gullah House Show, create the platforms and go out and make the real physical connection with the people that we're seeking to touch. You can't touch people through social media. You can reach them, but you can't touch them without actually touching them. And so, our plan moving forward in Orangeburg in particular is to base the Gullah Nation of North America there in a way where we have a variety of programs reaching out to different sectors of our community, so we can start restoring this village.
Mm-hmm.
We can start, those of us who have had exceptional experiences, that are people who are still trying to make it up, coming behind us. We have to be that bridge. And if I learn anything from this particular conversation with you, is that bridge is so important.
That's right.
That bridge is so important because you don't have all the people that you think you want.
Mm-hmm.
But you do need somebody. We all need somebody. And if we can formalize ourselves into that kind of support group for the community, I truly believe that we can move forward towards, our mental and our spiritual healing, which is ultimately what it takes for us to be physically dominant again in the world, financially dominant again in the world.
Yeah.
And so I just see you as a great example of that, especially for the women, but also for the men as well. We need to know what the standard should be. We need to know, because a lot of young boys have no idea what the standard should be in terms of who they should select as a queen. They have no idea. From day one, we're fetishized. Sex, drug, and just to stop and have this kind of conversation with young boys is so very important. It can stop, sexual assaults. It can stop of mate. It can stop so many different things, because then when you have a standard, then you know what you don't want. You know what you won't take.
That's right.
And so I think this conversation is very, very powerful. I'm kind of going off the head with the questions, because I like to let my spirit lead me.
Please.
But oh man, so powerful. So let me ask you this: when do you plan to come back to Africa?
We talk about it. Baba has been dropping, as you say, dropping that nugget. He's been dropping it in my spirit, and so perhaps when we all have a tour, when we all put together a plan and come together, I'd love to do that. I know that Damon, I call him Dr. Fordham, Dr. Damon, just left Africa, and I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. So whenever the opportunity presents itself, I would love to come visit you and your beautiful queen. I would love to come there and be a part of seeing what you're doing. Yeah.
More than welcome. We have a tour coming up in December. We'll be doing a workshop on the 7th of this month. But yeah, it's just about being that bridge, like we were just talking about. Being able to be of service to the people who's coming and going is vital for those of us who choose to live in Africa.
Yeah.
Because nobody will treat you like your family away from home.
That's right.
Nobody will treat you like your family away from home.
That's right.
That's why our families even migrated in family groups. It's just what it is. Family is first, especially in our culture. And that's what you find in Africa.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of stay close to home and the people that they know and love. But yeah, the tours are very important. You speaking about Dr. Fordham, and I'm watching him. Just his journey.
Yeah.
It's beautiful actually, because we had the brother on the show. I believe he was our first guest to start off the Gullah House Show, and I have so much admiration for him as an intellectual. He doesn't play with pseudo things.
Exactly.
He likes to get firsthand accounts, accurate data, and then logically explain it. Mm-hmm. So I really appreciate, just who the brother is as a person.
Oh yeah.
But to see him come home, get his reconnection, get his reward, meet his family, because that's who it is that you meet when you come back, no matter how you look at it. The people that embrace you and love you because you came home, that's your family.
Yeah.
And just seeing him get his love is so powerful. I hope that it's inspiring other people as well to make the same journey. Before I reached Freetown, I was in Senegal.
Oh, okay.
And I know the feeling of Senegal. It's just something different. Going to Gorée Island, going to the statue. Mm-hmm. It's just something different. It's like it was just there for us to be able to return to. Like it's just there for us. Some of the native people don't even know these places exist. they have no natural feel towards it. Like
Mm-hmm.
Island, but most of the people here probably never even heard the name.
Wow. Wow. I mean, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. I am excited. I am because it, as you said, one of those things about what's next is a part of that. You know, learning about where we came from, learning about family, being reconnected, and being able to be a part of that village. You know, we've lost that so much. I try to make sure that I keep that as I with my daughter and my nieces and nephew, you know, try to keep that connection. But we've lost the village, as we say. Most of the elders are now gone on. You know, they've left this earth and they're not coming back. So it's up to us to begin as the new, as you said, I like that and thank you so much, as the new elders to take on that role, to help bring our children up and teach our young women about being a queen, what it's like to be a queen, and our young men, what it's like to be a king. If you're going to be a king, that doesn't mean you rule over the woman. You know, that means that you work together as husband and wife, or as girlfriend, boyfriend, as significant other. You work together and come together. Baba, we lost Baba.
Yeah, we lost Baba. He'll be right back. I'm pretty sure of it. But you're right. We have to work together. We have to work together. I mean, there's no way around that at all. Let me ask you. So, what's your advice for people who are looking to get into media? You know, with your background, with the corporate, and now you're working with the, you know, independent and going your own route, but at the same time taking ownership of your creativity. That's what it appears to me.
Yeah.
It looks like you got out, you know, of a major record label deal, and now you're like, no, I can do this independently, you know.
Yeah, you know, Chief, I'm glad you asked me that question as well. I mean, you've got some great questions, Chief, and it's a lot. It's a lot. And I tell people, if you want to go into this industry, you've got to have a tough skin, number one. You can't give up, number two. It's something that you want to do, number three. Number four, you've got to connect with people in the industry. So you've got to connect with people. And I didn't have that. I mean, I had Sam Dennis, who is now deceased, is the one that really, as I told him what I wanted to do over 20 years ago, when I told him that, he's like, okay, let's do it. You know, let me help you. Let me see. And he introduced me to people. And that's what it takes. It takes being introduced. It takes having that mentor. And it's challenging. So I tell people, if you want to get into the industry, give me a call. Give me a call. My daughter, as a matter of fact, she writes courses and she does things like that. And so she's helping me develop a course where if you want to learn about getting into the industry, if you want to learn about becoming a television host or going into marketing, then yeah, I'm going to show you all the little tricks of the trade, because it's been almost 17 plus, almost 20 years.
Wow.
And like I say, I've been blessed. Yeah, I'm not on the major networks where you see me on every day. But as you said, I'm taking it to another level now. It's all about connecting with your community. That's what it's all about.
That's great.
That was going to be my question. What's your vision for the Orangeburg community now?
Oh wow, Baba, when you asked me that, I just had. I know we're running out of time. I just had a powerful talk with myself. You know how they say, I asked myself and myself said, well, I did talk back to myself. Okay. But what I said was, I have decided to make Orangeburg my home. Number one. Number two, I see the potential in Orangeburg. It's just that people have to there's some folks that just have to get out of the way. That's number two.
Yes.
Number three, I see that we have an opportunity to create new initiatives in this community. Now, number four, that means that people have to understand that they have to that they can be a part of that. It's no longer sitting back and watching and saying, oh, I wish I shoulda, coulda, woulda. Now it's time for people to say, I want to step up and I want to be a part of that. I'm noticing that there's so much apathy in this community about doing new things. And I'm hoping that I'm able, along with the community and folks like you and Chief, create that conundrum of where we can be as one, where we can come together as a community and say, hey, Tammy's having the Black Tie Masquerade. Let's support that. The pop-up shop is coming July 22nd.
Yes.
Let's be a part of that. There's a new restaurant down the street. Let's support them.
Yeah.
There's this new TV studio here. Let's support that and be a part of that. I'm hoping, to answer your question, that I can be that vehicle that will push the community forward. Now, I had somebody say, why don't I be the mayor? I said, I'm not running no politics now. That's just, I can be a mayor outside. I can do more on the outside than I can on the inside. You see, you follow where I'm going?
Yes.
I will support who's going to run for mayor. I will support, if it's Michael, I'm going to continue to support Michael Butler. I'm going to support if you're going to run for county council. I'm going to support County Councilwoman Dolores Frazier and the other council members in Orangeburg County. I'm going to support them. But in turn, I want to see some movement. Because, see, I'm all about movement.
Yes.
You can't tell me you're going to do it and it's not going to be done. If I say I'm going to make Orangeburg my home, which I have said, and I have committed to that as of this week here, that I'm going to plant my roots here. Yeah, I'm going to go back home to Charleston. I always go home to Charleston. That's home for me.
Yes.
But plant my roots here because I know what's getting ready to happen. People are moving this way. White, black, yellow, green, they all moving this way. So why not create that type of community where there can be this camaraderie of services, of places to go, things to do, you learning, as you said, Chief, community organizations coming together. Stop working against each other and come together.
Yes.
We all doing the same thing. If I'm doing my National Women and Girls Summit, and there's Shanika Aiken, who I love, doing her Girls Empowerment Day, we coming together. She and I are collaborating. Work, that's what it's all about. Collaborating.
Yes. And she's 100%. She does this every day. I see it for myself.
Yep.
So I know she's being honest and telling the
oh yeah, absolutely.
I see it. I do it with her. She can come and ask me anything to do, and boom, I'm there.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. And for me, who I haven't been in Orangeburg for some time, it makes, despite the negative things you can hear about any place, that there's a spirit and there's a hope still there in Orangeburg, that we can have our little Africa right there.
Exactly.
Me and Roderick, we talked about a lot in our research how we find our family and just the community itself forming independent communities, independent community institutions, farming cooperatives. When they say sharecropping, they was cooperatively farming. They was helping each other. They was in their own little way. They was getting over, or they wouldn't have money to send us up north. They wouldn't have money to do anything. They had to have some system of getting over, and that came through cooperative economics.
Exactly.
The only way they could get over white supremacy in Orangeburg was by engaging in cooperative community economics. It wasn't about becoming a mayor or becoming a sheriff.
That's right.
The mayor and the sheriff had to heed to the power of the black community regardless. And a good example is when you look at the uprising in Norway in the early 1900s, where there was a Confederate veteran. He was killed by a black man who was working for his son. And the guy was complaining to the Confederate veteran, the white guy, saying, "Hey man, your son be abusing me. Your son, I ain't gonna let him abuse me." In that argument, he killed this Confederate veteran, old man. From there, the white community, they pretty much grabbed him, lynched him. They beat two other Africans. One of them passed away. But in reaction, over 200 Africans from the area converged on Norway and was going to wipe out the 50 whites that was there.
Wow.
And so just hearing that history and then tracing our lineage genealogically to Norway at this time, it just brings history back alive. My uncle always tells me that he was there at State during the massacre.
Wow.
He was there part of the protesting. He was a teenager then. And so it's just like having that kind of history there, and then knowing that Orangeburg, before it was the modern Orangeburg County that we know, Orangeburg was originally a district in South Carolina that went all the way up in the Edgefield, included Aiken, Lexington, Calhoun, Bamberg, Barnwell. All of those areas historically were Orangeburg district from 1768 to 1868. So that means that the last 100 years plus of enslavement, Orangeburg district included all those counties. It was an overarching district. And at first it only connected to a Charleston district that was overarching. So the connection between Charleston and Orangeburg is very close. I know that there's been a connection as well for over 100 years. But it's great to see it come back home. So many of us are Gullah Geechees who have left the Low Country long ago, either by force or voluntarily. And to see that connection living through you is very, very powerful. And I hope other people realize that ain't no difference between the Midlands and the Low Country. We the same kinfolk.
That's it.
Unless we want to be geographical about it, you know. And the communities in Charleston can also benefit from developing relationships with Orangeburg and vice versa. There's a lot of land out there, and we're always promoting farming and natural health. We can grow our own medicines. We can grow a great percentage of our own foods naturally, like our ancestors did. All we have to do is relive our culture.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
So I want to give you a chance also. Can you give the viewers your contact so we know how to get in contact with you and stay involved?
Sure. You can reach me by email at info@tammymccotry.com. My website is tammymccotry.com. Simple, my name and .com. And that takes you to Tammy Media Group, LLC as well. The show comes on every Thursday on YouTube live at 7 p.m., just like the Gullah House Show here at 10 o'clock a.m. All right. And if you want to send me a message, please feel free to contact me. I'm on Facebook as Tammy Show. I'm on Instagram, Tammy McCottry, Twitter, Tammy McCottry. LinkedIn, Tammy McCottry. And so I'm all over. So if you need to get in touch with me, please. I'd love to hear from you.
Well, Tammy, before you go, I got to ask you this one last question here, because you always ask your guests three words that describe Miss Tammy.
Three words that describe me. Well, see, I wasn't even thinking you were going to ask me that question.
Oh, no. I had to bring that one out. I had to bring that.
Three words. Okay, 3 words that describe Tammy. Energetic.
Right.
Fun.
Right.
And loving.
There you go. Thank you. It's been wonderful.
Thank you so much. This has been a great and powerful show. We have to do it again soon. We're actually thinking about doing a network conference with all the people that we had on the show. We can come together and do something virtual to bring our different audiences together. That's the big network that we're building, man, because people need the truth from the people that know it.
Most
and this has been great. Thank you so much.
Hey, Lisa.
Good morning.
I would love to be a part of that. Gentlemen, let me just say this. What you all are doing is so innovative and it's so captivating. I have watched the show. Baba said, did you see the show? I said, I'm going to catch it later. I'll sit in the office. Folks ain't listening, right? They're not listening to me, right? But I sit in the office and I'll watch the show. So I want to tell you all what you're doing is so phenomenal. It's amazing. And I love it. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of it. I'm looking at the time. I know we're running down. And so I want to thank you all. Continue. Many blessings to you as you all do what you do and make that difference in the community. And thank you for the platform. We just
Thank you so much. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Mama.
Thank you.
Gratitude and reciprocity. We'll do this real soon. Again,
Peace.
thank you so much.
Peace, love, and blessings.
All right now.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Baba Kemoh.
Yo,
Kemoh.
that's my girl, man. That's my
She came and
girl.
dropped the bomb, man. She came and dropped the bomb, man.
Yeah. She always, man. She's real, man. She's real.
Yeah. So we're still alive. I just wanted to give you opportunity, man. Say any last words real quick, man. And anything you want to get out there about going on in Orangeburg right now that people can connect with.
Oh, well, like I said earlier, we're having the third annual Juneteenth program. It's coming up in a couple of weeks. It's going to be at the Orangeburg Fairgrounds, and they're having the little parade and everything. So it's getting bigger and bigger each year. So hopefully I get out there and see and shake some hands with some people.
Ashe. All right, Baba, man. So, audience, we out of here for this week. Y'all can catch us in 2 weeks with Rodney, representing the Jamaican Maroon Nation. He'll be here with us, and moving forward, man, just stay tuned. All right. Many roots, one family.
Many roots, one family.